Once upon a time in the middle of a cold, snowy winter, a queen sat by her window. She had a wish, she whispered to herself.
I wish I had a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as this ebony wood.
Not long after, the queen gave birth to a baby girl who looked exactly as she had wished. Her skin was pure white, her lips deep red, and her hair black as night. We shall name her Snow White. But sadness soon followed, for the good queen died. King so much worried about her little princess. Years has passed. After 7 years, King married again. His new queen was beautiful, but filled with pride and cruelty. She had a magical mirror, and every day she would demand to know,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
You, my queen, are the fairest of all.
That answer always made her happy until one day when Snow White had grown into a lovely little girl. By the time she was only 7 years old, she had already become more beautiful than the queen. One morning when the queen asked the mirror the same question, the mirror answered,
You are fair, O queen. It's true, but Snow White is fairer than you.
This made the queen absolutely furious. She could not stand that anyone was fairer than her. In a fit of jealousy, her jealousy turned into hatred. From that moment on, she couldn't stand the sight of Snow White. Her anger and envy grew each day until she could no longer bear it. Take Snow White into the forest, kill her, and bring me her heart as proof that she's dead. The huntsman obeyed and led Snow White deep into the woods. When he raised his knife to kill her, she began to cry.
Please, dear huntsman, don't hurt me. Let me go, and I promise I'll never come back.
The huntsman looked at her innocent face and felt sorry for her. She was too kind and too beautiful to kill.
Run, child. Escape and never return.
To trick the queen, he killed a wild boar instead and took its heart back to the castle, pretending it was Snow White's. Believing Snow White dead, the queen had it cooked and ate it. Snow White ran for hours, lost and terrified in the dark, mysterious forest. Finally, as the sun began to set, she saw a light. It led her to a strange. Finally, as the sun began to set, she came across a strange little house in a clearing. Inside, she found 7 small plates, 7 cups, and 7 little beds. Hungry and exhausted, she tasted a little from each plate and drank a little from each cup. She then tried each one of the 7 beds until she found one that felt just right. As the sun began to set, the owners of the cottage arrived. They were 7 small men, 7 dwarfs.
Look, someone has been in our house. Who's been drinking from my cup? Who's eaten from my plate?
Someone's been sleeping in my bed and she's still there. Who is she? She's so beautiful. Oh yes, she is such a lovely girl.
They didn't wake her. Instead, they let her sleep, and the 7th dwarf took turns sleeping with each of the others through the night. In the morning, Snow White woke up and was startled to see the dwarfs. But they were friendly and kind. They asked her name and how she had come to be in their home. Snow White told them her story, the wicked stepmother, the huntsman who had let her go, and how she had wandered through the woods until she found their house. If you stay here and keep the house tidy, cook, clean, sew and wash, you can live with us. We'll protect you.
Thank you, you're all so much kind and humble.
Snow White agreed, and for a time she lived happily, and years had passed. Now Snow White turned 16 years old. Back at the palace, the queen stood before her magic mirror once more.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
You are fair, O queen, it's true. But Snow White beyond the hills with 7 dwarfs is fairer still.
The queen was enraged. She would not be denied. Disguising herself as an old peddler woman, the queen traveled over the snow mountains in heavily snowstorm to the dwarf's cottage. She knocked the door of Dwarf's cottage.
Delicious apples fresh from the orchard. See, dearie, I'll cut this one in half. You eat the red side and I'll eat the white. It's perfectly safe.
As soon as Snow White took a bite, she fell to the ground. When the dwarfs came home, they couldn't revive her. They tried everything, but nothing worked. She didn't breathe. They wept over her. They built a glass coffin so they could watch over her always. Back to the castle, Queen asked the mirror.
Mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
You, my queen, are the fairest of all.
One day, a prince rode through the forest and saw the beautiful girl in the glass coffin. He read the golden letters. Oh, she is Snow White, daughter of a king. He was so moved by her beauty. Please let me take her with me. I'll honor her memory always. At first, the dwarfs refused, but the prince pleaded with such sincerity that they finally agreed. As his servants carried the coffin away, they stumbled on a root. The jolt caused the piece of poisoned apple to pop out of Snow White's throat. Snow White saying, "Where am I? You're safe now. Come with me to my castle. Will you be my queen?" Snow White smiled and agreed. A grand wedding was held. Snow White and the prince were married in splendor. The wicked queen, still believing Snow White was dead, was invited too. Before she left, she stood before her mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? Snow White and the prince ruled their kingdom with kindness and joy. She never forgot the dwarfs who had saved her, and they visited often, always welcomed as honored guests, and they all lived happily ever after.